Let me go to immigration. You made a decision to delay any executive action until after the election. What do you tell the person that's going to get deported before the election that this decision was essentially made in your hopes of saving a Democratic Senate?
Well, that's not the reason. A couple of things that I want to say about immigration. Number one, I have been consistent about why this is important.
All right, folks, that's Chuck Todd, the host of Meet the Press, interviewing the President of the United States. And now I get to interview the host of Meet the Press, Chuck Todd, who is the moderator, as I mentioned, of Meet the Press and political director of NBC News and White House correspondent and the author of The Stranger, Barack Obama in the White House. There it is up on your great big screen.
Former White House correspondent.
Former White House correspondent. You can't do everything.
Can't do all
right,
of
I'm
those
sorry.
jobs.
I take
No,
that
no,
back.
no.
Well, welcome, Chuck.
Nice
Great
to
to
have a
see you.
former in there.
And you know, everything I say to you is with all great respect, because I think
appreciate
a man in your position deserves that. And Meet the Press, you know, it's must-watch viewing
so.
for people like me. Yeah,
Right,
yeah, and hopefully
exactly.
for a lot more people. The Stranger. To me, it's a great title, and it speaks to who Barack Obama is as he, you know, lives in the White House. But why that title in your mind?
I think it's because it does feel as if, particularly, look, I wrote this from the prism of Washington. I'm going to pretend it's anything other than that. In fact, I think some of the criticism of the book that have come from people, particularly on the left, is that it's been too Washington-centric. Well, that's how,
right.
that's what
That's how you
A, I
see
do,
him,
and
right.
B, that is how we're judging him. How is he managing Washington at this point? And I think that is the most familiar refrain, is how many people feel as if 6 years in, they still don't know him, they still don't quite know what makes him tick. I had one Democratic senator who was a big supporter of him in the primary against Hillary Clinton say, I backed the wrong horse. I didn't realize he hadn't climbed the greasy pole of politics.
Want to name that senator?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, and it's not just, you know, it's the Democrats too, and
Right,
as
this
you
was a
just said,
Democratic
yes,
senator,
yes, who don't know him, who don't have relationships with
They
him.
don't have relationships. I mean, I think they do think they know him, and I think he thinks that he knows them and how they tick. I think the issue is he's not a big practitioner of inside politics, inside game. You know, he doesn't, if you want to talk about it in basketball terms, he's all outside shot.
Right.
He doesn't like to elbow on the inside when you need to.
And
do
that's okay if things are working, and that's okay if if the world isn't falling apart at
it.
home
But
and
sometimes
abroad.
it takes some elbow grease, some insider game.
So what doesn't he understand about that? Why the unwillingness, even now in the aftermath of the midterm debacle, from his point of view, a debacle, the unwillingness to move to the center, to compromise? Instead, he's doubling down.
I think it's, well, on this election, I think he's frustrated. I think he looks back and says, Democrats ran away from him. A lot of good that did. Look at the immigration example. That's the irony. They delayed it only for politics. Well, and then his answer to me was, no, it wasn't just about Senate politics. He said it was also about the politics of the issue change over the summer with the influx of undocumented children. Well, if that's the case, if politics mattered then in September, boy, then how does the midterms and the way immigration was debated not matter now? So I think he has put himself in a box, but in this respect, he's mad about it because he never wanted to delay. And that's why you wonder why he's doubling down. He believes that had Democrats backed up his record more, they wouldn't have done any worse, and maybe he thinks they would have done better.
Is he the most stubborn president that you could remember?
No.
I mean, look at
I
the
don't
government
know. I
shutdown.
mean, I can't sit there and say that.
No, but has there ever been a president, when it came to a debt ceiling and a budget crisis, that said, I will not negotiate? Shut the government down if you want.
Well, and I think he looks at it and says, John Boehner didn't negotiate in good faith. So I do think there's two sides to that story on that front. I think the problem with the way I certainly view the way I view the presidency is I think presidents are stuck whether they like it or not, that no matter how many times their hand gets slapped away, if they believe it's getting slapped away, they got to keep trying. And he set himself up as saying, hey, I'm the adult in the room. Well, if you're going to be the adult in the room, you always have to be the adult in the room.
But does he set himself up also to say, I'm the smartest person in the room, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the room?
That's been the feeling I think some people get, and that's why I think that there's certainly a personality clash a little bit.
And is that a wide felt feeling around Washington?
I don't know if it's wide. I think there's certainly people that have problems with him will bring that up to me.
Yeah, all right. And do you see him, well, how do you see the next 2 years with him, though? Anything getting done, or besides executive
Look, I feel like
order?
the immigration and healthcare issues are so toxic right now, the way both parties feel about them, that I don't know how both parties set them aside and get the other stuff done, go and tackle tax reform. So I don't. You know, if I were President Obama, I would take this immigration. You feel as if you always want to get, I used the phrase, get caught trying. I'm surprised he's not saying, okay, here's everything I'm going to do with executive action, but I'm going to do it on June 1st, 2015.
Right, give them some time.
All right, guys, you wanted one more shot? I'll
Here
give
it
you
is.
one more shot.
Chuck Todd's coming back. Don't go away.